Welcome back and thanks for coming to my channel. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind, and leave your comments below if you agree or disagree or whatever your thoughts are on these 5 reasons not to upgrade to the Canon R5. I will say I am not biased. I actually own a Canon mirrorless camera already, the Canon EOS R. I also have multiple Sony cameras. So this is coming from a place of pure honesty and just looking at the facts and just looking at some reasons. And I hope this will help you in deciding, hey, should I switch when this camera comes out? That aren't related to price. So number 1, do you really need 8K RAW? Now 8K RAW is going to be a resource heavy feature. I'll definitely try to figure out an estimate somewhere on this video along here. I'll put it up there, but I know it's going to be a resource heavy camera shooting 8K RAW. And if that is the case, you're not going to want to shoot at 8K RAW at a lot of the events that you're doing or weddings that you're doing or corporate gigs that you might be doing. It just depends on your workflow. With that 8K RAW is going to also come a bandwidth that your computer is going to have now. So if you're dealing with a computer that's older and you've been just dealing with it and you've already been having problems with 4K, this isn't the time to upgrade and think that 8K is going to be a magical experience on your computer. So you're definitely going to want to say that, hey, if I upgrade this camera to an R5 just because of 8K, there are going to be some limitations there. We don't know how long it can shoot in 8K. That's one thing, as well as does it overheat. Now, I will say this about the overheating. A lot of people I've seen in comments and in different areas are talking about, well, it probably overheats. And I'm like, hey, I don't really know of any Canon camera that overheats. I haven't had any Canon camera overheat on me. That has been a problem for me in Sony cameras. Now, I'm not saying that they're not capable of overheating because we don't have the camera. We don't know. We haven't done the testing. But I mean, yeah, in theory, it should be, possible to overheat. It's an 8K camera. So if they don't do it right, I'm sure it's capable of having those issues. Now, nevertheless, those are kind of some of the reasons why you're not going to want to be upgrading because of 8K. It's going to be your computer. Yes, you can use proxies, but that, again, you're adding more files and stuff that you have to add to your storage solution. And then also on top of that, it could have an overheating problem. And with 8K, you do have to realize that it might have a stopping point. So it might just be 15 minutes, 5 minutes. We don't know how long we're actually going to be able to shoot in 8K. So as of recording this video, those are the 3 things as far as 8K goes that I would say are the reasons you're not going to want to upgrade because of 8K. 2, we're going to go with size. And with the Sony a7S III, it's a pretty light camera. I do enjoy using it on vacations, on shoots, and all that good stuff. You don't feel hindered by the weight. It's easy to put on gimbals and all that good stuff. Very easy to balance. The EOS R, on the other hand, does have a weight difference, and I do notice it. I do notice that there is a little bit of more delay in me trying to balance on that camera. Not by a lot. I do know how to balance properly. So it's not something that's a deal breaker, but it is something that you're gonna have to realize, hey, this camera isn't the same form factor. And that R5 looks like a pretty beastie camera. It's going to be, of course, what people are saying is like a 5D equivalent. I had the 5D for it. It's a monster camera in comparison to a Sony. So don't think that this is just going to be a great move for your gimbals and all of your processors. You might need a counterweight. I don't know what lenses you're using, but the fact still remains that the weight difference is going to be something that you're going to want to consider when you're looking at, should I switch to the R5? Number 3 is glass. The RF glass that you'll need as a native mount to any Canon mirrorless camera is heavier. Now, they do have lighter ones, like their 35 f1.8 is pretty light. So that's a no-brainer if you're looking for a light lens in that mirrorless Canon body. That's a great choice, but the L series lenses are definitely hefty. Also, if you're somebody who's highly invested in Sony glass already, it's going to be pretty hard to do an even trade out into the RF mount. You're going to want to go EF to RF mount instead, so you don't incur this extreme cost of the RF glass because it is expensive. So that is something to have to worry about if you're somebody who doesn't like to adapt lenses. But I will say this is the best adapter I've ever dealt with out of all adapters. It is definitely the best adapter you can get on a camera, and it's probably because it's actually made by Canon. So Canon made their own adapter for their own camera to adapt their older lenses, which was a smart move on their end when they released the EOS R. So again, you're gonna want to look at your lenses and see how you stand to lose in the equation, far as how your money's gonna get shifted, and if it even makes sense to even shift the way that you might be thinking. So that's my tidbit on lenses, and that's number 3 reason on why you shouldn't move. Number 4 is SeeLog, and we're not going to go too long into this, but you have to understand that it is a different log profile than what you're used to in HLG and SeeLog and Cine 4. So that will come with a learning curve on how to properly expose it, how to shoot it, and if you're somebody who's busy and you're running and you're ripping around, you might not want to buy this camera just because you're like, you know what, Canon SeeLog looks pretty good to me and I really want to have that, so I'm gonna get this R5 because it checks all the other boxes. If you're somebody who doesn't have time to figure out this new profile right now in your career, and you're just gonna jump into this system while having a lot of other work to complete, it might be a bad idea because you might find yourself having issues trying to color grade it because you're just not used to it. So keep that in mind that, hey, all of your previous profiles won't be available anymore. You just jumped into a brand new system. And even though we have great Canon colors, I more so use that from a photography standpoint. The colors are unmatched. I just love it a lot more than any of the Sony cameras. Photography wise, hands down, Canon's a winner. I don't care what you say on that. Not saying you can't make great stuff on Sony cameras, you can. I'm just saying, for me personally, I just love the shots that come off of Canon sensors, and that's just been any Canon camera I've used in the past. But nevertheless, if you're somebody who doesn't have time to really learn that SeeLog profile and how to balance it and how to, really shoot for it and what ISOs work and what areas and all that good stuff, you're not gonna wanna move in the middle of your busiest season thinking it's gonna be a great move for you, because you're probably gonna be pretty mad and have to figure out some things. If I had to give you one tip, I would just shoot in a neutral profile and not jump into that SeeLog so fast. That seems to work for me when I use the camera in video. But hey, yeah, that's my 4th one is, color profiles, or SeeLog being another reason you might not want to move right now or think about moving. And lastly, do you even need it? Do you need this camera to be successful? For a lot of us, the answer to that might be no. I mean, if we're getting clients, we're making things happen, you might not even need this camera. You might not need the burden of learning a new system, figuring it out. How do I color it? I don't have Cine 4. I don't have HLG that I'm used to. Like we talked about earlier, the file management is different. My computer is boggled down from the new Canon formats and whatever, and you just don't know. There's a lot of unknowns because we don't have the camera. But nevertheless, do you feel like dealing with the variables that come with jumping into a system, jumping into a new system at least? I have the EOS R, so I hope it does work the same way as the R, as far as like the formats and all that good stuff. And I hope it does fix some things I don't like about the R, which would make me more so want to shift out of Sony personally. Now you just have to take it step by step and figure out, hey, do all of these line up to my future, and how future proof is this camera? The 8K, it's probably not going to be something that, like we said, it's not going to be something that you really need to worry about right now. But nevertheless, like, I like it for 4K 120. I like it for the 10-bit 422. But at the same time, if Sony starts releasing that, I'm gonna be in a really confusing state of whether to stay with Sony or move solely back into Canon. But I would say this, it's not these systems that make you a good shooter. It's you, it's the creator. Now the systems help, you wanna be comfortable, but at the end of the day, we can all create with anything that we have. We just have to put our mind to it. We just have to think about what we're doing, and we just have to figure out ways around some of the limitations that we do have. So like for me, I like 4K 60 and I like shooting in 4K. A lot of times I still interpret footage and do little frame optical flows in order to get the footage to be slowed down, and I've just gotten really good at being able to do that while having the A7 III shooting at 4K, because it doesn't shoot 60. So hey, I've made a workaround so I don't have to move if this camera doesn't align with all of my needs, and it doesn't make, you know, financial sense as well as creative sense to move. So it has to make both of those sense. Don't just move, guys, just because it's another new camera. But hey, leave your comments below. We'd love to talk more about this topic. And hey, hopefully we'll be seeing it soon. And I'm hoping for a price of about no more than $4,000 on this camera. If they price it right, this is definitely going to be a camera that's going to sway all the Canon people that moved to Sony back to the motherland, to say. It's gonna persuade them all to go back to Canon. So on my time today, please like this video and subscribe and comment if you have something you would like to add to anything that I've said today. But hey, I make content on here about marketing and about media, and that's what I do. I'm a digital media consultant, and I basically help businesses with their media from video and photography, as well as media from an application of advertising. So hey, this is a nice channel for you to learn how to be a creator, but also to learn how marketing works. So until next time, everybody, really appreciate your time. Hey, until next time, peace.